Breaking right now, on to the point. Governor Newsom orders state workers return to the office 4 times a week. Tonight, the timeline and potential impacts, plus an equipment malfunction at SMF.
We started to land, but we didn't.
What happened to flights headed to Sacramento? And does recent federal layoffs play a role? Tonight, the Dow dropping nearly 650 points over fears of new tariffs expected to take effect tomorrow. And later, the state of hate in California, the new report highlighting incidents and disparities. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Alex Bell, and we start with that breaking news tonight. Governor Newsom is ordering state workers back into the office 4 days a week, and this impacts more than 200,000 full-time workers. Right now, about half of them report in person every day. The order will take effect July 1st, and it also states telework flexibilities will be granted on a case-by-case basis. Now, Newsom has also directed Cal HR to streamline the hiring process for former federal employees who were laid off. This includes firefighters, forest management, and weather forecasters. ABC 10 has reached out to several groups, including SEIU, which is the largest state worker union. This has some major impacts to downtown and the morning commute. Tonight, Sacramento Mayor Kevin McCarty says, quote, "Thank you, Governor Newsom, for supporting the health of our urban core with a balanced approach to bringing state workers back to the office." This Friday marks 5 years since the start of the pandemic. This action supports our downtown, our city, and our state, and our workforce. We are gathering more information at this hour, and we'll have much more throughout the evening. And of course, a full report on late news tonight at 11. Well, it was a chaotic morning at the Sacramento International Airport. Multiple flights coming into SMF had to be diverted from a fog-related mechanical issue. Tonight, the FAA tells us the problem is being addressed. But as ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen found out, aviation experts believe this could possibly be related to the recent layoffs within the FAA.
We started to land, but we didn't.
Southwest Flight 2917 was supposed to be a simple work trip for Rachel Janish.
I'm from San Diego, and I'm in Sacramento for a conference.
As her flight to Sacramento started its descent, Janish says the pilot notified them of a change in course.
We weren't going to be able to land because there was fog in Sacramento, so we had to divert to San Jose.
Flight Aware shows Southwest Flight 2917 departing from San Diego, heading towards Sacramento, and having to make a loop to land in San Jose. That flight eventually made its way back to Sacramento.
When it gets really foggy, there's equipment that's installed right next to the runway, known as the Runway Visual Range Transomometer, that measures that visibility down to hundreds of feet.
A spokesperson at SMF tells ABC 10 a component of the instrument landing system known as the Runway Visual Range, or RVR, was temporarily unavailable, causing flight diversions because of the fog. The FAA is responsible for maintaining and operating the RVR. The FAA says this incident was caused by an animal chewing on the equipment. However, aviation professor and pilot Scott Miller believes this could be signs of a bigger issue.
There were 3 areas of the FAA that experienced a recent round of layoffs. Technical operations was one of those areas.
Miller says technical operators are usually the ones that would tend to issues relating to the RVR. The FAA wouldn't tell us if layoffs have impacted the staff at SMF, but did tell ABC 10 it continues to hire air traffic controllers, safety professionals, and mechanics, and maintains employees who perform safety critical functions.
All right, I want to go ahead and bring in Jeannie now, who has been following this. Again, I think the one thing really on people's minds, are those safety concerns, especially because we've seen a lot of incidents for various reasons, unfold just from the beginning of this year alone.
Well, Alex, Scott Miller did say that safety is not compromised, especially in the incident we saw this morning at SMF. But he believes that if layoffs continue to happen, it will just make efficiency be an issue. And in turn, that may result to less flights being offered, which will then may result to higher prices. But for now, he says, flying is still a very safe mode to travel, Alex.
All right, Jeannie, thank you so much. New details tonight in President Trump's first 100 days of his second term in office. WWE co-founder Linda McMahon has just been confirmed as the U.S. Secretary of Education. It was a party line vote of 51 to 45 for senators. 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats missed the vote. McMahon previously served as the head of the Small Business Administration during President Trump's first term. Trump has said that he wants the Department of Education to be closed, so McMahon will be tasked with shutting down the federal agency that she was confirmed to lead. The Department of Education just gave workers a deadline to accept a payment of up to $25,000 to voluntarily resign or retire, according to a memo that was obtained by ABC News. Tonight, rallies in support of federal workers were held as the Trump administration cuts government jobs. The mass federal firings raise levels of uncertainty for government workers. Hundreds of scientists with the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration are among those recently let go. NOAA provides weather forecasts and storm warnings, as well as climate monitoring. Here's what former public affairs specialist and climate scientist had to say.
This is such a dangerous thing. You're playing games, really, with potentially life-saving information to go out to people, or making that harder to get out to people.
Tonight, Elon Musk, head of Doge, is saying those who fail to respond to a second wave of emails by tonight at midnight, listing the 5 things that they had completed last week at work, will be fired. New tonight, President Trump ordered a pause of U.S. military aid to Ukraine. This comes just days after he kicked out President Volodymyr Zelensky from the White House following a heated argument. Trump claims Zelensky's not ready for peace.
He said he thinks the war's going to go on for a long time, and he better not be right about that.
Zelensky, not mentioning the president by name, countered with, quote, "Peace is needed as soon as possible." Meanwhile, the British Prime Minister has announced a $2 billion investment for air defense missiles. Tomorrow night, President Trump will be addressing Congress. You can watch his speech and the Democratic response right here on ABC 10. ABC News coverage starts at 6 p.m. and you can also stream this speech for free on our ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. Then you can join us for a special edition of ABC News at 10 p.m. All right, let's jump right into your price points tonight. Starting tomorrow, new 25% tariffs start on goods from Mexico and from Canada. Goods from China will also be hit with an additional tariff. Tonight, a UC Berkeley economist says to expect prices to go up in America.
With today's announcement that there'll be an extra 20% tariff on China, that no doubt is going to make things more expensive here. It's going to raise costs for businesses, and ultimately, it's going to raise costs noticeably for consumers.
The Trump administration believes imposing tariffs on imported goods will strengthen the U.S. economy by getting more businesses and consumers to buy products made in America. Next, on to the point, a forest emergency. What the governor's office says that they are doing to fast track fuel management projects.
And we've had a little bit of a pause in the activity today. Tomorrow's a pause as well, but Wednesday and Thursday were cooler. We got weather impact alerts out for the Sierra. We've got those details coming up after the break.
And looking for a place in Placer County to release a sexually violent predator. Why officials now appear to be reevaluating the case. All right, welcome back in. It's calm right now, but our weather is going to be changing a little bit. So let's go ahead and check in with meteorologist Brendan Minchef, because you are tracking a weather impact alert, right?
Yeah, another one, right? And we just had a pretty soggy Sunday across the region. Not anything in the immediate forecast, but certainly by midweek. And this weather impact alert's just for the high country. This is Wednesday and Thursday. We're looking at heavy snow, difficult travel. So if you have plans to go up over Interstate 80 or 50 on Wednesday or Thursday, you might want to go ahead and rethink that. We're looking at wintry roads, and very, very likely we're going to see some chain controls, spin outs, potentially traffic may be held for a while. We'll get into those details in just a second. We topped out in those low to mid 60s around the region today. We're currently in those mid 50s, 57 in Sacramento, 56 in Elk Grove, 54 Stockton, 55 in Manteca, 56 in Modesto, 45 in Placerville, 34 Truckee, 34 in South Lake Tahoe. Temperatures right now in Sacramento about 7 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. Through the rest of this evening and headed into the overnight, clouds are going to be building in. We'll start tomorrow with plenty of cloud cover in those middle 40s. 44 in Sacramento Tuesday morning, 44 in Elk Grove, 44 Stockton, 42 Manteca, 41 in Modesto, 30s and 40s in the foothills, 20s up in the high country. Tomorrow afternoon, right around 60 degrees. I'm looking at mostly cloudy skies for much of the daytime on Tuesday. So as we see on Futurecast here, clouds through the overnight and morning hours. Definitely some rain out along the coast and in the Bay Area tomorrow morning. Then some very, very light showers possible through about lunchtime tomorrow before we dry out. Not expecting much, if anything, in the valley. Again, if we see anything, it's just going to be some very, very light showers, a few raindrops on the windshield kind of deal. And then clouds stick around. So again, mostly cloudy skies through the daytime tomorrow. Then Wednesday morning, we start to see snow returning to the Sierra, and then we could have some pop-up thunderstorms once again in the valley Wednesday afternoon. Then snow really starts to pick up Wednesday into Thursday. This is why I'm saying you might want to go ahead and rethink that travel. In the valley, maybe a quarter inch of rain for places that see those pop-up showers and thunderstorms. In the Sierra, though, look at all the snow we're expecting, especially along Highway 50 through Thursday morning. We could see over a foot of snow, half a foot plus up on Interstate 80 through Thursday morning before it starts to taper off later on Thursday. So in Tahoe, weather impact alerts Wednesday and Thursday, again, because of that snow that we've got incoming. And then over the next 10 days in the valley, we have that isolated chance for those thunderstorms Wednesday and Thursday afternoons, Alex.
Next, on To the Point, the new twist in the efforts to house a sexually violent predator in Placer County, plus addressing the state of hate, what a new report is revealing about incidents and disparities and what one group is trying to do about it. Welcome back. There's another twist tonight in the case to house a sexually violent predator in Placer County. At a court hearing just today, officials said that they would file a petition to revoke the release of William Stevenson, who served a 31-year state prison sentence for sexual crimes. ABC 10's Luke Cleary reports on what happened in the hearing today.
For more than 2 years, the California Department of State Hospitals has been looking for a place in Placer County to release sexually violent predator William Stevenson. This after Stevenson completed his prison term. But recently, the court received a letter from a DSH doctor asking to amend his opinion regarding Williamson's release. Because of that, Liberty Healthcare, the conditional release provider, said it would file a report requesting to revoke his outpatient status. It comes after years of opposition among Placer County residents.
What is your fear if Mr. Stevenson is released?
Well, that he'll do it again.
Stevenson was first arrested in 1985 for indecent exposure and then for sexual violence in 1991. He was released from custody in 2014, only to reoffend again 3 years later. Stevenson's release also opposed by the Placer County District Attorney's Office.
So this is consistent with what we have felt about Mr. Stevenson all along, but we'll have to wait and see what the reports ultimately detail in a hearing in front of the judge.
But why the change of opinion at DSH? The district attorney has his theory.
Help us understand why this might have happened.
Something occurred during the course of Mr. Stevenson's treatment that could range in what it could be. I would be speculating at this point, but it was something significant enough for the Department of State Hospitals to want to keep him within the custody of the Department of State Hospitals for further treatment.
He said his office will file a petition to revoke Stevenson's release, but it will be up to a judge to decide. Luke Clary, ABC 10.
And ABC 10 asked DSH for comment, but they say federal and state patient privacy laws prevent them from releasing any specific information. It was also revealed in court today that the property Liberty Healthcare had identified for Stevenson's release is no longer available. Stevenson's next hearing is on March 17th. And turning to California's wildfire threat. Over the weekend, Governor Newsom declared a state of emergency to, quote, fast-track critical projects protecting communities from wildfire. So the governor says, in part, this year has already seen some of the most destructive wildfires in California history, and we're only in March. These are the forest management projects we need to protect our communities most vulnerable to wildfire, and we're going to get them done. So this order suspends environmental regulations, including CEQA and the Coastal Act for projects like vegetation and tree removal, and adding fuel breaks, allowing non-state entities to conduct approved fuels reduction work, direct states agencies to submit recommendations for prescribed fires, and increase the California vegetation treatment program's efficiency. In Los Angeles, the EPA says it has already removed more than 300 million tons of hazardous materials in Palisades and Altadena. Phase 1 of their process was completed in 30 days rather than several months. And though the rebuilding process is just beginning, Phase 1 was completed just last month. And with an increase in claims after the LA wildfire, State Farm has requested emergency approval of a 22% average increase on homeowners insurance here in California. Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara and State Farm, they met last week to discuss the rate increase request. However, a decision has not been made yet. We asked longtime insurance industry expert Carl Sussman today how rate increases can impact policyholders.
If State Farm is asking for a plus 20 rate increase, that does not mean that every policy is going to see their premium go up by 20%. First of all, they're asking for the fire portion of their policy to be increased by 20%. The first thing you want to do is look for that actual number. And then understand that 20% is a statewide average. People that are in areas that are higher risk for fire would be closer to that 20%. They could potentially be above 20%. People that are not in areas that are closer to the brush or higher risk for fire would see less than 20%, potentially even have their premium go down.
And Carl says policyholders should know that if a rate increase is approved, it does take a long time to go into effect. He says sometimes it can take several months before that increase would be reflected on your bill. Tonight, a new report from the Commission on the State of Hate is highlighting rising activity across California. And the new report reveals Black students are facing disproportionately higher suspension and expulsion rates compared to their white peers. ABC 10 spoke with the Commission's chair, who explains why this report matters and what one local group is trying to do about it. Hate incidents in California are increasing, with nearly 70% reported as violent offenses.
We have a problem with racism in the United States.
The report finds there's been a surge of hate crimes and incidents targeting specific communities following the attack by Hamas and the war in Gaza.
We have seen a wave of anti-Semitic attacks since the events of October 7th, and the resulting backlash also against Arab, Muslim, Palestinian, and those who are perceived to be members of those communities.
Targeted hate and discrimination doesn't just affect adults. Young people feel it too. The report shows a trend in schools. Black students are being punished more harshly than their white peers for the same behaviors.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance. High five, Stefan.
The Black Youth Leadership Project is working on the front lines to provide support and advocacy to Black students, parents, and educators.
We focus or function as educational advocates, where we go into the schools to help mitigate those issues.
And the same thing for this one.
9 times 9.
Their work is critical. The organization is a grant recipient of Stop the Hate California.
Right, you got it already.
A program funding nonprofits with boots on the ground to help stem the tide of hate.
The community that experiences the most amount of hate crimes in our state is the Black community and Black people.
According to the State of Hate report, Black male students in California are 3 times more likely to be suspended and expelled than white students.
So we're trying to do a holistic approach to really supporting our community and making sure that they know that there's somebody out here who gives a damn.
The report includes policy recommendations to combat hate, including interventions for schools.
That we invest in evidence-based school interventions and public messaging campaigns to prevent hate, in particular with young people.
And Californians can report hate incidents and hate crimes and receive free support services at cavshate.org. This resource is not affiliated with law enforcement, and you can report anonymously. Coming up onto the point, the Oscars, big moments, and why 2025 will be a very big year for Sacramento at the movies. Well, if you watched the Oscars last night on ABC 10, you know that the big surprise winner was the independent film Anora, winning 5 Oscars in all, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actress. Mikey Madison, at 25 years old, took home the Best Actress statue, talking to ABC after her win.
I never would have thought anything like this would happen in my life.
And you already know our very own Mark S. Allen was on the red carpet yesterday talking with so many celebrities, running into Timothée Chalamet and breaking down the big night. Mark sat down with the big nominees ahead of the Oscars to talk about their films. It's all on his weekly show called Take a Look that you can stream on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. Just look for the shows in Now Playing and look for that playlist under the News tab, and you can download it for free straight to your TV. And talking about movies, Sacramento is getting some big recognition on the screen this year. This April, a road comedy titled Sacramento will have a nationwide release. The film features Michael Cera and Kristen Stewart. The trailer just dropped last week and shows off multiple local locations that you will recognize. It follows two friends who take a road trip from Los Angeles to Sacramento. And then Leonardo DiCaprio's movie shot in Sacramento and Stockton is expected to be released in August. It's a Paul Thomas Anderson film and also stars Regina Hall and Sean Penn. It was shot early in 2024, and this is the largest production filmed in the capital city. The city's film and media office says that it saw $5.3 million in spending. All right, as always, thank you so much for watching and inviting us into your home. If you have something that you think we should be looking into, please reach out to me and the team. You can always email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. And remember, strangers are just people we haven't gotten the chance to meet yet. So take the time to get to know someone. And To The Point doesn't end here. You can always watch stories that are featured on our show. Just download our free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app.